Hey guys, it's Beauty Queen and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be reading chapter 5. Chapter 5? Yep, chapter 5 of Melissa De La Cruz, Triple Moon, Summer of East End. If you guys haven't seen me read the previous 4 chapters, I'll have the link in the cards to the playlist that I have all the videos in. Let's get started. Alrighty. Chapter 5, Rescue Me. Let's just remove this. Dun dun. Okay. Once the grown-ups had pulled out of the driveway, Marty took Joe and Henry to the beach in front of the house. She tossed a blanket over the silver sand and they sat down and watched the sunset with Fairhaven lit up in Gardiner's Island across the bay. Henry had a bucket that he filled with little fistfuls of sand. He dumped it out over and over with no signs of boredom or slowing down. Kids were so weird. Marty supposed she was going to have to give him a bath after this to get the sand off his body before putting him to bed. As she shuddered at the drudgery of it all, she was never having children. Jo kept running her fingers over Mandy's rainbow tattoo, mumbling, "It's so, so, so pretty." It was all Mandy could do not to swat the little girl away from her neck. Finally, she pulled herself to standing and suggested they go put their feet in the water. "Sure," said Jo, "but will you tell me why you have a rainbow bridge on your neck?" Mandy had sharply, "Why did you call it a bridge?" Without answering, Jo demanded, "Tell me the story of the rainbow bridge. Molly promised me you tell good stories." Fridging Molly, thought Marty with a grimace. Molly was across Gardiner Bay, probably sipping champagne and nibbling caviar, toast and smoked salmon while she was stuck babysitting. Obviously, Jo wasn't going to leave Marty alone until she talked about her tattoos. She might as well get it over with. It was a story their father had told them when they were young, when they asked her unusual questions about their family and where they came from. "I'm surprised your mum hasn't told you already. You see, my rainbow bridge, like you called it, is actually the Barrow Bridge, a magical bridge built by the King of the Gods, so that all the other gods could travel from Middle-earth, which is the ordinary world where we all live, now, to their palace in heaven, a castle called Valhalla, which was built using the labour of dragons." "Neat!" Phew, the kids seemed satisfied. Maddie had always liked that story about Asgard. She thought as she twisted the ring on her finger. Suddenly she felt a breath of soft fur on her ankle. She looked down to see Jo scooping up a black kitten. "Midnight," Jo called out in delight. "Midnight, where have you been?" Mandy immediately understood that Midnight and Jo had a magical bond. "Is Midnight your familiar?" she asked wistfully. "Yes. Are you a witch too?" Jo question was completely without Gretel. "Yes, I am. There was no point in lying." "And your sister?" "Yes." "So then, where are your familiars? Why didn't they come to live here with you?" "Our dad made us board them for the summer." Nanny got a pang for her Siamese cat Killer, who was stuck in an overpaid pet hotel in Soho. She missed Killer's steady companionship, her knowing glance and deep purr. Killer had an anarchy in Molly's fur, a small Longsheen dog with the typical long feathery hair in front, smooth hind quarters, and upturned fluffy tail. Of course, Molly would be shadowed by a specimen of one of the priciest dog breeds on the planet, and one that required heaps of grooming to maintain its absorbed hairstyle. For the most part, the two animals despised one another. Furry yipped at Killer. Killer hissed at Furry. They sometimes even peed in one another's water bowls. But every once in a while, for no apparent reason, they would curl up together and nap, their eyelids flittering in union as if to the same dream. Henry Jo screamed out to see, shattering Mary's reverse. Oh no. Mary fell in the little witch's anxious glaze to discover that the baby boy had somehow managed to launch himself in an orange kayak and was drifting off into twilight at an alarming rate. "No!" Amara screamed, yanking off her sandals. "Jo, stay right here. Don't move. I'll get him." As she ran to the water, Manny watched in horror while the kid stood up, wobbled, spread his arms and jumped out of the kayak as if he thought he could fly. When Henry disappeared under the water, Mary swam faster than she had ever had in her life, knifing through the darkening sea toward the spot where she had seen Harry disappear. Her heart was pounding, her arms and legs tense with the muscle memory of thousands of laps she had swum this past year as a way to calm her anxiety and steady her racing pulse. She had to remind herself to breathe. She reached the kayak and began diving around it, wavering through the water with her arms and legs in the desperate hope of touching the little limb. Nothing. Then she heard the distant tone of child's laughter, or baby's laughter. Miraculously, Henry's chubby fingers were grasping the front tip of the kayak. He was hanging there, feet dangling in the sea, chuckling himself. She grabbed him and held him close. Henry, why on earth did you do that? By way of answer, he stuck his thumb in her mouth to touch her emerald tongue stud. Wowie, he squealed as far as Manny could tell. His vocabulary consisted of 4 words: Mama, Dada, More, and Wowie. The rush of gratitude she felt towards the universe was intense. She burst into tears and realized she should wave to reassure Joe, who was standing motionless in the surf. Had Joe used magic to rescue her brother, or was he simply really lucky and really coordinated, or was it something else? Manny had lifted him into the seat, grabbed the back of the kayak and kicked her legs until like an outboard motor propelling it to shore. As she pulled it into the wet sand and let Henry scamper out, vowing to never take her eyes off him again where he was in her charge, a glorious black-haired figure appeared on the beach. Mandy was not easily impressed by physical beauty, but this woman was a total fox. Her hair was dark with red gold highlights. She was small, more petite than the red lanky Marty, and even curvier. She was barefoot in skinny jeans of an iridescent opaline black that was perfectly cinched her tiny waist, along with a silver and bronze silk buster that would have been cool in any decade over the past 1,000 years. Her breasts were mesmerizing, perfectly full and high. They could have seemed disproportionate to her tiny frame, but they looked as right and natural as full blossoms on a slender stalk. Her cheekbones popped, and her large green slanted eyes twinkled in the light of the rising moon. She didn't look remotely troubled by the fact that the baby had been pulled from the jaws of the sea. Marty recognized this creature instantly as one of her tribe, a goddess from Asgard stuck in Midgard, or Middle Earth, for all eternity after the bridge connecting the two worlds was destroyed centuries ago. Here in Midgard, the gods lived among humans as witches and warlocks. Molly and Marty's own father, Troy Overbrook, was once known as Thor, god of thunder. And this glorious woman on the beach, explaining ripeness and sexuality, has to be Ingrid's sister, Freya, goddess of love. She had reached her eternal age of about 25 and would not grow physically older until the end of time, unless, of course, she chose to. As if to confirm Marty's hunch, the young woman held out her pretty hand, smiled blandly wide, and said, "Hi, I'm Freya Bernchant. You must be one of Tori's girls. Ingrid told me you guys were here this summer. Welcome." "Thanks, I'm Marty." "Nice to meet you. That was an impressive rescue just now. You're a good swimmer." I spent a lot of time in the pool back home. Marty was still wearing her leopard bra and sports shorts, which were soaked now. The black dye from the leopard sports was running, streaking her six-pack. This was one of the problems she ran into wearing clothes of Derbis, Oregon. As if reading Marty's thoughts, Freya said, "Let's get you guys into some dry clothes. You're shivering, and it looks like Henry's diaper was absorbed half of the water in Gardner Bay. It's sagging down to his knees, poor kid." Inside the house, Marty toweled Henry off, put him in a dry diaper, and then asked Freya if Freya would keep an eye on the kids while she ran upstairs to change. "Wait a second, are you the only one here? Did they all leave you with Joe and Henry to go to the party on Gardner's Bay? That is so uncool. I'll stop him by so that we could all head out together." "No big deal. I didn't want to go anyway. Preppy is not my scene." Freya let out a silvery laugh. "Honey, preppy is only the surface of it. You have no idea. I cannot tell you how much fun I've had through the years at Fairhaven. The Gardner men are something else. Kyron and Brian are out of town right now. You might say they're both on hiatus from me, but there's some fresh Gardner blood in town. Now get yourself dressed to go out." "But what about Ingrid's kids?" Freya was tapping out a number on her phone. I've got that covered. Ingrid's housekeeper lives down the street and she loves Henry and Joe. I don't understand why Ingrid didn't call her to come in the first place. I think, said Miranda, that Dad told her to keep me and Molly some responsibility. He has the idea that he's going to make good little witches out of us here. As if Troy was ever a good boy himself, Freya gave an ironic smile. Give me a break. I don't want Gracilla to put me in bed, Joe squeaked. I want Mandy to stay. I want more rainbow stories. Auntie Freya, don't go. Don't be like that, Joe, said Freya firmly. There's nothing less attractive than a little self-witch. Marty is going to be here all summer. You've got plenty of stories. Now, let's take her to the attic and show her our dress-up clothes, shall we? Let's get her ready for the ball. As they walked up the attic with Henry and Midnight crawling up the stairs to their heels, Freya explained that when her mother and father died, her mother left Ingrid the house because it was obvious that Ingrid was going to have a family. Freya liked children fine, but not half as much as she loved her freedom. Since Matt was moving in with Ingrid, Freya bought his bachelor pad from him. It was a little way down town on an isolated strip of beach, a sleek old glass house that has a peaceful refuge from her busy social job at the North Inn bar. It was perfect for her, except for one thing. There wasn't enough storage space to accommodate the overflow from her spanning wardrobe. She had filled every closet, and all the shelves and surfaces were piled with her clothes. It was enough to make minimalist Matt wince whenever he paid a visit to his old house. All this to say that she still used the attic and the Burnham homestead as a backup closet, and she was sure they would find something here that Mandy would approve of. As they opened the house's uppermost door, Mandy gasped. Freya wasn't king about quantity. This was a treasure chest of the sexiest fashions from the past 100 years or so, with a focus on the 1920s, 60s, and 70s, and a few throwbacks to much earlier times when undergarments could be spectacular. There were dozens of tiny beaded flapper dresses, singed fringe skirts and tops, rhinestone-encrusted mini corsets and garters, all hanging on bars that went around the four walls of the large room. The space was illuminated by skylights, through which the moon poured its glow so that the pearls, beads, rhinestones or sequins glimmered like stars. There were rows and rows of shoes, mostly heels, arranged around the room by colour. It was as if the attic was encircled by some exotic, multi-striped snake. What's your pleasure? Asked Freya. For the first time in her life, May had no idea what she wanted to wear. Her mother had disappeared when they were young, and her sister had a totally different aesthetic, so she never had anyone help her pick out clothes. She had always relied on her innate sense of elastic thrift shop style, but this was too much for her to process. I'm having total sensory overload, she said with unaccustomed shyness. You're going to have to pick something out for me. Are you serious? Freya clapped with glee. Mooney nodded her cold dark head. Awesome, Joe, help me out here. This is going to be so much fun. Nothing pretty though, Mooney hesitated to specify. I don't like pretty. Don't worry, we've got it covered. In no time, Mooney was outfitted in a pair of denim hot pants with a silky beagle tie, can't say that word, across the butt, tall patent boots, a cut-off thorough red t-shirt, a lightweight black pigskin vest from back in Freya's New York City days, and arms like the black rubber bangles. Gracilla arrived and swept the kids from under her wig. Freya declared that Ferrari was a way cooler ride than her Mini, and the witches screeched off into the night. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye! I think tomorrow. I'm so used to saying tomorrow for every single, because I used to do 7 days. Now I do 5. Now I'll see you the next weekday.